And what is up, everybody? Thunderbob here, and I am checking out some more Diablo 2 Resurrected tonight. I'm looking at patch 2.4, which is up on the PTR. I've been going through a bunch of different builds that have seen major changes, builds that have been improved or modified. And tonight I'm going to look at one that hasn't seen a lot of changes, but there is one critical change that's impacting it. I'm going to be trying out Meteorb, and Meteorb is a build that revolves around Fireball, Meteor, and Frozen Orb. And none of these skills have had damage increases or stat increases. The biggest change impacting these is actually the change to the cooldown mechanic in Diablo 2. So in patch 2.4, they're changing it where one skill's cooldown will not impact another. So before, if you dropped a meteor, you were locked out of all skills that had a cooldown on it. So if you threw a meteor, you could not do meteor. You could not do frozen orb or blizzard or firewall. It allows a lot more combination of skills than could be used before, and I think it's the main beneficiaries here are blizzard, frozen orb, firewall, and meteor. Hydra had its cooldowns removed completely, so it doesn't really get impacted by this change greatly because it doesn't have cooldowns anymore. But these four abilities in particular, I think people may find some new and interesting ways to link them together. I'm going to show you just briefly the setup here, the gear, and the skills. So it'll start with the skills. I've got maxed out Frozen Orb, 1 point in Cold Mastery. I didn't go with synergies for Frozen Orb here, though I do have quite a bit of gear to bump up the damage, as you can see. Lightning, Static Field, of course, Telekinesis, Teleport, Fire, maxed Meteor, maxed Fire Mastery, maxed Fireball, remaining points went into Firebolt. This is a level 99 character. You could certainly move this around, like you could take the points away from Firebolt. That's probably the last place you'd put them. You could bump up Ice Bolt as a synergy to Frozen Orb. You could also do this like a Blizz Baller, drop Frozen Orb altogether, put it into Blizzard. I also am curious about people making like more than two skills together. Like, Blizzard and Frozen Orb might work well together since they have mostly the same synergies. But what if you did like a Meteor, Frozen Orb, Blizzard? But you do have a limited amount of points. Not all these builds are going to work. But that's another one I want to try is the Blizzard and Frozen Orb combination. I think those two skills may work well together. But tonight we're looking at Meteorb. So looking at the gear, Death Fathom, this is mostly just for the plus skills, and then also maxing out the cold damage. Same thing with Nightwing's Veil, Crazy crafted. This is like a really, really old crafted ring. I know that level requirement's bugged on it, and this is carried forward through like many generations of save files. Chains of Honor, Spirit, some nice run walk, try resist, Arachnid, some SOJs, Mage Fist, CTA, and then actually this was on my main before. This is for like maxed cold damage, but since I'm going with a kind of a mixed build, I'm actually going to use the Spirit instead. And I think what I'm going to do is I'll do some cows, and I will do Chaos Sanctuary and see how this plays. And I am using the quick cast bar, which I think is really useful. I haven't played with it a lot because most of my builds don't revolve around multiple skills with cooldowns and isn't as critical. But in a build like this, it's so nice just to be able to hit F1, F2, and that casts without having to, switch and then right click again. It takes a little getting used to, but I think this quick cast bar is useful for a lot of builds. You can drop a meteor and a frozen orb together, which is something that would have been impossible before this patch. That's the biggest change to this build. And I think it makes Meteor so much more useful because I ran Meteor. That was the first build I went with when Diablo 2 Resurrected came out. And I liked it a lot, but in all that time I cast like so few Meteors because, it shared a cooldown with Frozen Orb and it, just kind of slowed down everything. Unless there was an immune enemy, I rarely clicked it. But I feel like this, increases the damage on Meteor considerably. Meteor's doing 27,000 damage per cast plus the average fire damage getting added, 2,000 per second. Frozen Orb's doing about 1,000. So this is a pretty substantial increase in damage, just because you can do both of those together, where before, you know, it was one or the other. You've also got Fireball on your left click, which is a great cow skill, actually. Those quick casts make dropping those together so much easier. And I think this actually makes Meteorb true to its name. Like before, most Meteorb Sorceresses used Orb and Fireball. So like, it actually feels so much truer to be able to use them together. Okay, making sure my FCR is right. It feels just a little off. But it's because of the quick cast. Just not used to it. I'm definitely hitting the right breakpoint though. Meteor feels so much more usable with the quick cast and with the changes to the cooldowns. I think this could definitely see more hybrid builds being produced. Okay, I just kind of wanted to demo Cows briefly. I think we'll jump into the Chaos Sanctuary from here and how it performs in that area. Okay, here we go. Just gonna teleport right down into our favorite spot. Now there are a lot of fire immunes here, so I feel like I'm gonna be making more use of Orb, but sniping the caster guys with your Meteor I think will be pretty effective. Like right there, just drop the Meteor right on the caster, which is the cold immune one. And I hit the wrong button. Still getting used to that quick cast. So, there is the fire, or the cold immune. Of course, he moved right at the last second, but... So all the casters are back there together. Just make sure to drop your Meteor on them. Though you could just also throw out some fireballs. And this build is obviously very, very decked out. But there's really nothing high rune expensive here, other than Chains of Honor, which you could easily change out for like skins of the Viper Magi or Miss or something. But these are expensive, but they're not like multiple high runes expensive. Spirit's pretty cheap. Boots, you could go with a bunch of different options, you know. So the gear, you know, is not super expensive here. These charms, though, are pretty ridiculous. But if I was running this on Battle.net, which I've run Meteorb a few times, I would just get some cheaper skill charms. I would not go for life skill charms, as they are obscenely difficult to come by. I also want to try this with Blizzard later. I think Blizzard Fireball Meteor could work out, because you could, you know, of course, Meteor and Blizzard together, which before would have been just impossible and like kind of pointless. Come on. I hate this seal. Those quick casts definitely make the game feel a lot more active. think I need to change them up, though. I'm still using the F keys, which on this keyboard are a little bit awkward.
I am overburdened.
Of course, you can just throw out fireballs as well. And he's dead. So that is Meteorb with the new changes to cooldowns and using the quick cast bar, which I am becoming a fan of here. If you enjoyed this, I have a ton of other Diablo 2 Resurrected content. Got about closing in on like a dozen videos for the 2.4 patch, and I'll have some more up into next week. If you enjoy what I'm putting out there, please do like and subscribe, and thank you again for watching. Have a good night.